But sometimes you just go out on a weekend, have a meal, and you end up in a hospital. I'm talking about what's happened in Gurugram. In Gurgaon, a couple of friends had a get together, decided to go out to a cafe. Out of 5, 3 of them ended up, 4 of them in fact ended up in a hospital. There was a 1-year-old kid also who thankfully did not consume it. I'm talking about the visuals that have gone viral. I'll request my producers to play them out as well for you. It is horrifying how you are consuming mouth freshener, soft, that we all pop at the end after we've had a hearty meal and we are pushing out after a good time at a restaurant. It turned out to be dry ice. Look at the story that Money Control has filed on what exactly happened. Then we will speak to those people who actually experienced it and they will give you a first-hand account.
Consuming mouth freshener turned out to be a nightmare for 5 friends in Gurugram. They all began vomiting blood and complained of cuts on their tongue after eating what they were told was mouth freshener. All of them were hospitalized later. But how did eating a mouth freshener lead to this? On March 2nd, the 5, Neha Sabharwal, Manika Goenka, Preetika, Deepak Arora and Himani, along with others, were having dinner at La Foresta Cafe in Sector 90 around 9:30 p.m. Ankit Kumar, who was also part of the group and the complainant in the case, said after they finished eating, a waiter offered them a mouth freshener. Upon consuming it, they experienced a burning sensation in their mouths, followed by bleeding, and they started throwing up blood. Ankit then called police and arranged for an ambulance to take his friends to RV Hospital in Sector 90 Gurugram and had no help from restaurant staff as they fled from the scene. The complainant claimed the doctor examined the mouth freshener sample which he had taken along with him and said it was dry ice. According to police, they have filed a first information report at the Kherki Daula police station under the IPC sections of causing hurt by poisoning and criminal conspiracy against the waiter who gave them the substance. Meanwhile, the restaurant's manager Gagan said it was the negligence of the staff that led to the incident. Now another question. What is dry ice that is at the center of this incident? Dry ice is solid carbon dioxide, the same molecule we exhale in gaseous form. It is a lethal substance. According to the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, dry ice is commonly used as a cooling agent for food products like ice cream, frozen desserts, etc. It is frequently used for food items that need to be cold or frozen without the use of mechanical cooling. It must never be touched even with bare hands, let alone ingested. With a surface temperature of -78.5 degrees Celsius, it can cause severe frostbite and skin burns if touched without protective gloves. Additionally, it doesn't melt into liquid when heated and instead changes into gas, which can cause fatalities in confined spaces and explosions in sealed containers. According to FSSAI, it should be used or exposed to open air in a ventilated environment. Now, what happens if you ingest dry ice? If consumed, it can burn your esophagus, rupture your stomach, result in serious internal injuries and even prove fatal. According to the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, inhaling dry ice can cause hypoxia and hypoxemia. It may even choke you as it can reduce the oxygen in the lungs when ingested.
This treatment is same as we treat burns, oral burns by alkali. And first of all, remove that substance from the mouth. Rinse the mouth with relatively cold water, because suddenly if you take hot water in the mouth thinking that cold has caused the injury, then it will be further complicated. Immediately one can apply steroid cream. We have steroid creams like the oral paste of steroids. That should be applied in abundance, and don't forcefully rinse your mouth. And if one has vomiting tendency, then we have to treat by giving intravenous injection to stop vomiting.
Hope you found this video informative.
All right, so that is what happened. We also got down to meet with the families to understand from them what exactly transpired at that moment. Did they have no idea? Did it not look suspicious? And importantly, what happened when they consumed it? This is the story of the couple who perhaps got it easy. There are about 2 people still in hospital right now. But right now, listen in to what Neha Sabarwal and Ankit Kumar experienced.
Right now, I'm feeling very lucky that I have come back from ICU. My other friends are still in the hospital, they are admitted in ICU. So I'm just praying to God that they are okay. I took that some flakes on, I kept it on my tongue and it blasted. It was feeling like some acid attack has happened inside my mouth. Whole my mouth started burning sensation. It was burning so badly, so badly. Blood was coming out. I was not even aware that blood is coming out or what is happening. I was just worried about, oh my God, something is burning inside. Will I be able to talk or not? What is happening with me? It was a very, very bad experience for me. Thank God my daughter is saved. My husband is saved so that he is taking care of my daughter. We were helpless right there. We were screaming. We were just wanted. My mind stopped working. Only one thing was in my mind, that this burning sensation should stop somehow. Somehow, just somebody help me to stop it. It will burn my entire thing inside my mouth. I thought it is going to be very, very bad, very, very bad. Somehow I'm out of danger, out of everything, but one of my very close dear friend is still in ICU, and I think he has intake that thing has gone inside his food pipe also, so there are ulcers there. So I just pray that he gets well.
We just went for casual dinner on Saturday night. So, after dinner, it was everything good. We cleared the bill and we were about to leave. Meanwhile, I was handling my daughter, 1-year-old, and 5 of them, including my wife. So they were taking pictures because they met after a long time. So they were having pictures, and meanwhile that restaurant staff came and they offered that sugar flakes kind of thing in open bowl. Okay, so as soon we were in a queue just because of taking picture, and she was offering each one of us without any ask from our side. So one by one they were taking until the ball came to me. So I just picked few flakes, and meanwhile all 5 of them started crying for help. It was as sudden that as soon they put in their mouth 1 or 2 flakes, I don't remember how exactly it was, but within a second or maximum 2 seconds, it exploded, and they were crying for help. They were bleeding from their mouths, and they were vomiting like hell. Even they were crying for help, and entire restaurant staff locked themselves into their kitchen. Nobody was there to help, and we were left on our own. Somehow I pulled that waiter or some staff, I don't remember who it was, and somehow he indicated that this pack, he given this substance from this particular packet. I took it in my custody. There was nothing was written on that. It was simple polythene and some sugar flake kind of thing. It was there inside. And I was begging them just to tell the name at least, that what is this product, so that I can arrange the medical help accordingly. But they didn't even bothered to tell, and they didn't ready to help anything. So I had to call police, and after a long wait of 40-45 minutes, police officials came over there, till that time every was, down on the floors everywhere, the blood, vomiting. I was begging them just to, don't wait for the ambulance, and just make us reach to the hospital with our own cars, because we were there with two cars. I was requesting I will drive one car and one you can, any of the police officers, but they were only requesting us to wait for the ambulance. So I made my call because I could not wait further. Already 40-45 minutes were over. So myself somehow managed to bring all 5 members in along with my daughter, and driving by one hand to the nearest hospital.
Imagine the plight of these people, terrible, and how some of them still in the hospital. It could happen to anybody. But what are the checks and balances that are to be put in place? And importantly, what should you do if you are ever confronted in a situation? Hopefully never land up in the hospital in ICU like this. But if you ever face food poisoning at restaurants, if the food doesn't agree with you, if there is some other issue, what is the policy? What should you be doing? To chat us about that, we've got Professor Bijon Mishra joining us, international consumer policy expert. Good morning. Sir, just want to understand, in this case, the gentleman here, thankfully, since he wasn't the one who had consumed it, he was, like he explained in his, interaction, he was the last in line. So he sort of saw what was happening to the others and thus could act upon it. Otherwise, imagine what would have happened, and the restaurant had no idea. They first called the cops. They then they managed to drive to the hospital. That led to a full delay of about an hour or so, those crucial, critical time that was lost. But I was just thinking, if this were to happen, the first thing you have to do is get to the hospital, secure yourself. But then he had the mind, what he did had the mind was to pick up a sample, to take that packet from the waiter and show it to the doctor, so the doctors at least knew what they were treating. So it was smart thinking at that point. Do you have some tips for people on what they should be doing in a situation like this? What is your first port of call? What do you do, and how do you address these issues?
Yeah, the story is horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. And I must confess, the observer who was there, as you mentioned very rightly, he worked in a very responsible manner. The first thing everybody should do is to call the police, 100. That's an easy number to remember and also call. And they are supposed to report to you in less than 5 minutes. But here it took more than 40 minutes. That is not a good indicator in terms of response. So we all need to call the police first of all, and then naturally the police will call the ambulance. So there are certain states which has a ambulance emergency number also, like 112 and things like that. And there are a number of emergency numbers which should be not only recalled but also displayed in food joints, in important public places, where citizens should be able to recall that number immediately and call them. That's the first thing. And of course, the smartest, kind of response was by the observer was to collect the sample. It's very important to have the sample on the spot collected and then witnessed by people who are responsible people. They stand as witness and then go ahead to get into the prosecution mode, like FIR, as you mentioned. There was an FIR also filed at the nearest police station. But another very important thing, which your viewers must know, is to be able to follow up with the regulator. Like in this case, the regulator is the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, and also the State Drug and Food Authority. The State Drug and Food Authority. Every state should have a literally 24/7 helpline number. You see, the helpline number has to be 24/7. In most of the helpline numbers in my country, unfortunately, are not 24/7. They work only during office hours. They don't work like an emergency. And that's a very, kind of a challenging task. But these kind of episodes actually should wake up the governance and should be able to bring in interventions which are stronger than what it is existing today. And as citizens, I feel
No,
very
I think
strongly.
proper checks on and regular visits to restaurants, right? There are checks that happen on hygiene. There are checks that happen on other standards being met. There should be checks happening on where the placement of things are. And the biggest issue here is that the person who served the waiter there did not know. Their awareness is key. So who's doing those checks is also perhaps really important. And again, the standard of the restaurant, standard of the cafe really comes at play over here on how vigilant they are. But this should, you're rightly saying, a wake-up call to a lot of people, especially the restaurant owners, because now we know there's a police complaint against the owner and the waiter. But we wait to see what really comes out of that. Thanks so much, sir, for joining us with the very latest on that.